Welcome to JWL Sports, where we review all the best sports clips from around the world. If this is your first time checking out a video, please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I would absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of, and I think we're well on our way to doing it. We're watching a clip of Undisputed with none other than Skip Bayless, and I think it's Keyshawn, today, and, they're talking about the hip drop tackle being banned. I know a lot of people are kind of going back and forth about this. The reality is that there are long-time players that have retired or are still playing that want this to happen, and in that regard, I'm going to definitely concede to them. And also, as a fan, like I understand people are like, well, this isn't football anymore, and everyone goes to the extreme of like, well, just make it flag football. People put up a big issue about the changes before in the past, whether it was, roughing the passer, tackling the quarterback, or just other tackles in the past, and what's considered pass interference versus not, touchdown run, all this. And they said, oh, this is going to ruin football. It's going to ruin football. This is game's over, right? May as well just, wear dresses. And yet, the NFL is doing better than ever. Everyone loves it. Everyone's still talking about it. Ratings are up. It's doing better than any other sport in America. It's growing internationally. They love it. They love it. They love it. They love it. And, I grew up in a time, with, Dawkins, like Weapon X, the Eagles played on, for those of you who don't know, at the Veteran Stadium, the Vet. And it was like concrete, okay? It was known to it had the hardest turf in the NFL. Players hated playing there, okay? Hated playing there. I think, what's-his-face had a famous injury from the Cowboys, Michael Irving. And so it was, brutal. And as a fan, especially as like a young little kid, I took pride in it. It was like, that's right, Philly so hard. You get hurt here, you can't handle it. And, body slamming other players. I mean, you just lived for it. But then you grow up and realize that this is more fun to watch players, A, not get injured, B, you want the best players playing at the most important times, and C, like, it's a skill game. What I love more than anything right now in football is not the hard hits, okay? I used to when I was younger. You love that, a epic tackle, right? Some guy catches the ball, turns and looks upfield, and then just gets laid out and drilled. And you were like, yes, football. And I love that. I did. Now, not so much, because now I watch that and I go, oh my God, what is that? That guy's, what does that guy's body and brain look like? And I kind of cringe to a degree, because I don't want to see people get hurt. And this idea of, well, that's what they signed up for, is nonsense and BS. And so what I get excited for, and I think a lot of people do, why do people love OBJ back when he was in his prime? Why do people love Mahomes so much? It's his finesse, it's his skill, it's him running around in circles and, making these crazy arm angle throws and all this. It's not him barreling through people and throwing people across the field. It's the finesse, it's the, the breakdancing, essentially, right? That's why, what do people love about Tyreek Hill? That he is lightning fast. Right? It's not so much the hard hits. And, it's not to say that the hip drop tackle is a hard hit necessarily. It's not, right? But it is a hit. It is a tackle that has a high injury rate. And now, what does this look like from a game watching perspective? Is it like now just make it even harder, or now do people start going for even more dangerous plays? I don't know, but this was the consensus for the most part around the league, that this is what they wanted. And you have a lot of like old school players, like a Warren Sapp, for instance, say the game needs to evolve into just a more skill-based game and less so just about brute force. And again, as a fan watching football and, from the outside looking in, that is really what I want to see as well. Some of the most exciting games that I can remember and watching are all when the offenses are innovative and the defenses are, getting interceptions or, key tackles, but not this brute force, knock their head off when it looks like the quarterback might never walk again. I'm not into that. And yeah, watching a player get injured also at this point, even if it wasn't like the hardest hit, it's also not comfortable to watch. It's just not. I hate that feeling. And I hate the feeling of going into every single football game knowing at any moment my season could be over because any player can get injured right now. And it's a crappy feeling, honestly. So that's why football is evolving and trying to change. And so I applaud it. And, and if it ends up being a bad rule, then they'll change it. So I'm curious to see what these guys have to say. I just wanted to share my opinions off the top first. And then we'll kind of go from there.
NFL has banned the swivel hip drop tackle, and many current and former defensive players blasted the legislation yesterday. J.J. Watt tweeted, "Just fast forward to the belts with flags on them." Keyshawn, you were obviously an offensive player, but thumbs up or thumbs down to this move?
Thumbs down. Yeah, I might have been an offensive player, but I play with a defensive mentality.
So you did. I give you that.
There's a Skip in terms of that. It's a thumbs down. Like this, JJ's right. What are we getting ready to do? Play flag football? Right? It's just like, can't touch a guy past 5 yards. Can't hit him going across the middle because of the headshots, which I understand the concussions and things of that nature is a big concern. But in a minute, you can't hit a guy, your target spot has to be between your shoulder pads and the midsection. In a minute, they're going to outlaw that. You can't hit guys in the knees because their knees, they need their legs to be able to survive and play football. So now you're going to say, okay, hit them lower than that. Well, in a minute, you're going to say we can't hit them cut them out from underneath their ankles. At some point, they're not going to have a body to touch at all. It just makes no sense. I've been tackled like that in my career when I played 1,000 times, Skip. Okay? Pulled to the ground from the back, twisted around, all of those things. It's just unfortunate that things like this happen to a few players. Now you putting it in the hands of the referees to make a decision based on a 15-yard penalty similar to the helmet situation where guys are hitting guys in their helmets. You're putting that on the referees now. You're giving them another thing to screw up and mess up in the course of a game. Now, I just don't get it. I don't understand it. I know you feel a certain way about it because of what happened to Tony Pollard.
I do.
But in the end, Skip, they're tackling a guy.
Yeah.
When you grab somebody around the waist and I have to get you on the ground, your momentum is dragging me. I have to twist and turn to get you on the ground. I don't. What do you expect from the defender to do?
Okay, I will admit up front, I am still stung by what happened to Tony Pollard because I thought he was going to be really, really good, and he never was quite the same last year after he got hip dropped in the playoff game at San Francisco and suffered a career-threatening ankle fracture. I'm a fan of Mark Andrews. He played at the University of Oklahoma, and he was obviously Lamar's security blanket tight end target. And he got hip dropped, and he tried to come back and play in that AFC Championship game and wasn't much of a factor. And I don't know what his surgery situation is going to be through the offseason, if he's going to need some cleanup, but he had the similar injury that Tony Pollard had. So I will admit to you, I'm a little maybe oversensitive because of those. But I do respect Rich McKay. You know Rich McKay from way, way back, Tampa Bay days. He has been so outspoken about this from the start, and he keeps throwing out the stats. The injury stats on this maneuver are scary bad. And we're doing the two primary examples, three. Lamar also got hip dropped and was almost hurt. Geno Smith was hurt for a while. Tyler Boyd got hip dropped. Tannehill got hip dropped and was knocked out. So my point is that when Rich McKay speaks as loudly as he has been on this, I do listen. And I'm going to quote him. He said, what's happening on the hip drop is the defender is encircling, tackling the runner, and then swinging their weight and falling on the side of the leg, which is their ankle or their knee. When they do it, the runner becomes defenseless. So I get it. You got tackled 1,000 times from behind, but this is a different from behind. This is grabbing and holding and doing the rugby style sling forward, where you sling all your body weight forward and your feet leave the ground, and you're sort of drafting. You're using the momentum of Keyshawn to pull yourself alongside him and then fall down across the backs of his
legs. Be able to get my big ass down on the ground.
Yep.
Them little bitty corners had to do that. They had to.
Yep.
It's just fortunate for me, I didn't get twisted underneath them and they didn't land on my ankle.
It was fortunate for you.
When
I hate this idea, though. This is like, my grandma, and grandpa did this, ate fast food or did this, every single day for 90 years, and they lived until they were 90. And it's like, just because you weren't injured doesn't mean anything to me, quite honestly. So I hate that argument. It's not really an argument at all.
When you got hurt that time, what happened?
It was my cleat got caught in the turf.
Okay, so it was you.
Let me blame the turf for my ankle being broke.
Fine.
They need to get rid of the damn actual turf.
Did anybody hit you as you were going down?
No, I was sliding. All right. But I've been pulled down from behind.
I'm sure you have.
When guys have you, and let's say I start to tackle you up in your shoulders and I'm still running, I'm going to naturally slide down. And as I slide down, I start to lose you. Now I have to use that force that you're dragging me with to now torque my body to be able to swivel around to put you on the ground. Your leg may or may not get caught underneath. Some guys don't get caught underneath. They get up and they go live to see another play. Just so happened with Mark Andrews and Tony Pollard. And then Geno's deal on the side.
But again, that's such a stupid argument, because some players get tackled and have their head slam into the turf and they're totally okay. They're like, ugh, and they're good. And other guys have, get traumatic brain injuries. So like, it's like his argument, if you want to come with an actual argument as to why, it's not as big of a deal, or that this issue is becoming, being blown out of proportion or whatever, I'm open to that. I am. I'm not like this hard nose, like, yes, this absolutely needs to ban. This is the most dangerous play in the NFL. Really, my opinion personally can be summed up is that I am all for rule changes that make the game safer, and keep the players healthier. So I can see Mark Andrews play great in the playoff games, or Tony Pollard, or whoever, right? Like, I want the players to be able to play. I don't need football to be this, Coliseum barbarian, barbaric sport. And I know that's why a lot of us guys, enjoy football. But at the same time, when I watch football now, in no way do I feel like it is a lesser product than it was 10, 15, 20 years ago. And I don't think you guys do either. Otherwise, you wouldn't still be watching it. And not to mention, the way how the game has evolved and the way how it is so much more exciting now, because it's a faster paced game, higher scoring game, more electric plays, more offense, and also, more aggressive going for it on fourth downs and things of that nature. And that's exciting. That's awesome. Those are all good things. So this idea of them just being like, oh, just bring out the flags and this or that, to me is just it's just nonsense. Really, at the end of the day, it's just nonsense. Like, it just reads to me of like, get off my lawn. And again, if JJ Watt or anyone else wants to give concrete reason, a legitimate counter, for sure. But if your counter is just, you're just being soft and weak and this or that, that's not really a conversation, right? That's just nonsense. I mean, it really is. That's just like, that's not actual real debate or unpacking an issue. And again, if you think I'm wrong, if you think that this should be kept in, let me know in the comments below. I really want to hear, what your argument is beyond just it's football, let them play. Like, if you have, legitimate counter, please let me know. Either way, I read every single comment. So let's get into some discussions. Let's get into some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I would absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of, and I think we're well on our way to doing it. And please do not forget to give this video a thumbs up. as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. If you made it this far, that means you like watching these videos. It means you like this channel and you're subscribed. So please just hit the thumbs up button. I'm learning that it apparently does matter. So I would be incredibly grateful for just you just clicking that button. Thank you so much, and see you next time.